Here's the completely horrible part of this. Here's a point that so many people miss. They see numbers thrown out there. They see percentages. At first they saw mortality rates like 4.7. That was a lie from the beginning. This is not controversial. All of the experts have backtracked and said, oh, it's way more prevalent. It's way more all over the place. Way more people have had it, which means the mortality rate is way lower. Initially, they were just measuring the number of people who were sick enough to go get tested, and then the percentage of those who died. And they were talking about that as if it's a mortality rate. And some of us immediately said, well, what about all the people who didn't bother to get tested? Like who had it but didn't go into the hospital to get tested? Sure enough, the studies in New York, the studies in California, this is all over the mainstream news, studies in prisons, studies on Navy ships, more and more it's springing up all over the place that they find, oh, this is already way more widespread than we thought. Way more people have already had it, and a lot of them never had symptoms or had minimal symptoms, never bothered to get tested, which means the mortality rate is tiny compared to the initial reports. But what I'm about to say doesn't even depend on what the mortality rate says, and it doesn't depend on taking anybody's word for it. This is based on what the experts are saying about the whole reason for social distancing, which was to lower that curve. Now, if you are under the impression that when they throw out a percentage, it means like if 1% or 0.1% or whatever it is, if they say 1% mortality rate, if you think that means that you can flip a coin and if it comes up 1 in 100, oh no, I'm gonna die. That's not how it works. That's not how statistics works. That's not how disease works. That's not how they ever work. And the media has reported over and over again in Italy, in Spain, in the US, all over the place, the vast majority of deaths caused by COVID-19 are in patients with compromised immune systems. If you are young and healthy, your chance of dying of this thing is statistically just about zero. And the media loves to fish around to try to find a story here and there. Well, here's a young person who died of it. And they've, fished so hard that they were dishonest and had to retract some of them. For whatever reason, COVID-19 is very, very nice to infants and children compared to even the common flu. Way more children and infants die of the flu every year than this. I don't know why. I don't know what the mechanism is that's different, but COVID-19, statistically speaking, is not a significant threat to children and babies, thankfully. Lots of things are, but not this. Now, if you can say, well, over here, there's one story. If you find one person in 328 million who died of something, is that sad? Yeah. Is that a bummer? Yeah. Is that statistically something that everybody else should be scared of? No, that's ridiculous. There are literally 20 other things that are way more likely to be a threat to your child or your baby or yourself if you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s. All of this is in the media, but most people just look at the death numbers and they go, it's gonna kill us. But back to the point, here is the main point I want to sink in, because this has been right in your face for days and almost nobody has noticed, apparently. None of the people out there I see wearing masks and standing 6 feet apart and doing all this. At no point did the government ever claim that standing 6 feet apart and wearing masks and staying home and shutting down businesses would reduce the number of people who get this disease. I'm gonna repeat that. Please pay attention. This is important. At no point did they claim that any of those measures would actually reduce the number of people who get this disease. And they're right. It won't. You've heard flattening the curve, and no doubt you've seen that picture of an arch that goes like this and an arch that goes like that. The area under the two arches is the same. That means they are expecting the same number of people to get this. All of those measures were designed only to slow down the rate of spread of the disease, not to actually limit the spread and how many people get it. When you see signs out there that said, help stop the spread of COVID-19, that is a lie. And every one of the experts has explained over and over again, the point here is not to stop the spread of this. That is impossible. It's way too late. It's utterly impossible. All of these measures from their own mouths, all of these measures were intended only to slow down the spread of it with the goal of not overwhelming hospitals. That was it. If you think you're wearing a mask so you don't get it, that was never why they said to wear a mask. After they said not to wear a mask, because they were all saying that first. None of this, standing 6 feet apart, staying home, none of that was going to keep you from getting it. Ever. They never claimed it was. They never pretended it was. It was just to delay you or a whole bunch of people getting it. They've been open about that the whole time, and almost everybody's apparently missed it. Down all over the place. What I just described, all the things happening in the US, well, some of them, there's more than that, negative ramifications of these ridiculous solutions, the US is going to get the easy brunt of it. The rest of the world, the mainstream media is already reporting this. The rest of the world is going to see millions of people starving to death from the solutions. And the idiotic media is saying, oh, COVID-19 is going to cause this famine. No, it's not. Government shutdowns destroying the economy are going to cause millions of people to die. It isn't this stupid virus. You look in India, they're not even up to 1,000 deaths in a population of 1 point whatever billion people. But the shutdowns are destroying the economy. And there's a bunch of people over there saying, we're going to be starved. We're literally going to be starved. There's people starving in India on a daily basis anyway. So all those bad, effects that I was just talking about in the US, that's going to be easy. That's going to be gentle. Yeah, tens of thousands of people are going to die from these solutions in the US. It's going to be way worse than that in the rest of the world.